Well, hey, boys and girls, and welcome to episode 6 of the Word of the Day. And we are bringing you words from the Southern Dictionary. And I know the Southern Dictionary is something not everyone is probably familiar with, but it's the way we talk down south here in the state of Alabama and in other places in the South. In fact, you may not know this, but there's about 4 or 5 different dialects in the South, depending on whether you're from the eastern side of the Southeast, where they have a little bit more of a Neva and plantation type sound, as opposed to Louisiana, where it gets pretty darn rowdy down there. But nonetheless, coming to you on YouTube, this is CEDA, the Create Every Day in April, and this is my contribution for today. It's been a long day today. In fact, it's almost 9:20 here in Alabama at this moment. We are in the Central Time Zone, and I have been very, very busy this day because a good friend of mine who passed away about, 6 weeks ago, I guess, was kind enough to leave me his collection of magic. He was a magician, like me. There you go, talking south, like I was. Anyway, he left me this collection, and wow, he had a bunch of stuff stuffed in that house. He lived alone. He had his mom there with him for many years. She passed away, and he lived alone. Never was married. Kind of a spinster, I guess. Is that what you call an old maid that's male? A spinster? I think so. Reminds me of the old story about the old maid that waited so long for a ship to come in. Her pier collapsed. But nevertheless, Archie was a good friend, and he was kind enough to leave me his collection. And of course, when I got to his house and actually saw the extent of his collection, I was absolutely flabbergasted. You could not hardly walk around in his house. It was so bad in that little place he called home. I actually looked up hoarder in the dictionary, and his picture was there. So you can only imagine. So I've been working over there trying to get it straightened out, packed up, moved into a storage shed so that his family can get his house on the market. And it's been a long day, but here I am. It's 9:23, and we're going to do episode 6 of the Word of the Day. And this is a great word that I'm about to show you. It comes with the letter F, the letter F. And the letter F word of today is the word fetus. Now, if you look up fetus in the dictionary, that is your dictionary, one from the north, or the north as we say, you'll see that the letter or the word fetus is a noun, and the description of it is an unborn offspring of a mammal, in particular an unborn human baby, more than 8 weeks old after conception. And that's a pretty dadgum good definition of the word fetus, unless you live in the South. I'm reminded of an old rock and roll star from back in the, I guess, late 50s, early 60s, Jerry Lee Lewis. And Jerry Lee was from the state of Louisiana. And if you saw the movie with his life portrayed on the screen, you might remember the scene where he and his young bride of 13 years, not married 13 years, she was 13 years old, arrived in Heathrow Airport. And of course the press was going crazy because he was a sensation. Everybody was playing his records in England. It was a big deal for him to come in. It's kind of like the Beatles arriving here when Jerry Lee Lewis came to London for concerts. And of course, what happened was the press got a hold of the idea and found out that when he walked in the airport, there was this young girl with him. And so they asked who she was, and he said, well, that's my wife. My wife. Well, how old is she? Well, she's 13. And so the word fetus was thrown out as someone who would maybe have a young bride. It all happened in the airport when she said, can I get an ice cream, Cousin Jerry? And they said, wait, she's your cousin too? And she was, but that was perfectly legal in Louisiana. Now I don't know if that's true back then in Alabama or not, but I do know that in Alabama, you can actually divorce your wife and still be cousins, but that's really a whole nother subject. We'll look at it some other time. But let's go to the Southern Dictionary, because the word fetus is a verb and a noun, and it is to provide a group meal, especially one curious about the forthcoming meal. Well, let me use it in a sentence for you, and you'll see what I mean. Talking Southern means, I wonder what they're going to feed us for lunch. Completely different meaning. But that's what we use in the South when we get ready to eat. Hey, let's go over there, because that little Baptist church, they're going to feed us right after church. Well, that's the word of the day, episode 6. We'll look forward to you being here tomorrow for episode 7, where we will be looking at the word of the day, starting with the letter G. And in the meantime, hey, y'all come.